Hello, and thank you for joining us for this webinar. My name is Julie Baumier, and I'm a dietect and menu specialist for Gordon Food Service and part of the Nutritional Resource Center. Our webinar title is Waste Not, Reduce Waste and Manage Cost. As we progress through the webinar, you'll see it's not just about managing costs, it's also about helping people, helping the environment, and each of us joining in to do a part in this important trend. Let's take a look at today's presentation agenda. First, understand what is food waste and the two categories. Second, know your people, staff and customers. Third but not least, what's your action plan? Menu and serving strategies, preparation strategies, challenge the status quo, and reduce supply waste. Here are some interesting facts available about food waste in Canada. Canada wastes more than 10 billion worth of food annually. The most wasted food by weight is actually produce. 32% of wasted food could be rescued to support communities all across Canada. So exactly what is food waste? Before talking about food waste, we need to understand the term food loss. Food loss is defined as a decrease in either the amount of food or quality of food that was intended for human consumption, but was never actually eaten. Food loss can happen at any point in the food supply chain. For example, food loss can happen during production or farming. Produce may not have been harvested because of damage caused by pests, disease, or weather. This is one example of food loss. Other losses are also seen during post-harvest and in packing, as well as in any processing or distribution. An important part of food loss is food waste. Food waste refers to the discarding of food that was fit for human consumption, which mainly happens during processing and consumption. There are many reasons why food is thrown away or wasted. For example, being provided larger portion of food that we can actually eat leads to food waste. Food being past its before date will often be thrown out because it's seen as unsafe for consumption. Another common reason for food waste is due to overpurchasing of food and not being able to consume it before it spoils. Food waste has two subcategories: pre-consumers, before service of food, spoilage, expiration, trimming, overproduction, and post-customers, after meal service waste, plate waste, behavior influence, and also controlled by patron or guests. Now let's take a look at some of the reasons why we waste food in the kitchen. It's a problem to run out of food, so we often prepare more than what's needed. And when we offer food choices to our residents, patients, or consumer, we will overproduce on all the options to ensure every person has a choice. Another reason for food waste is we need to serve safe food. For example, past before and use by dates are often suggested by manufacturers for peak quality, but products are often thrown away when these dates are near or past due to food safety. And these dates required on both perishable and non-perishable food. Another reason for food waste is because every food service operation has food safety policies in place. Generally speaking, we're not able to keep food that has gone to the floors or are leftovers from a buffet. Therefore, these foods have to be discarded. Large batch production is often done to help control labor costs. And with purchasing, we tend to buy a larger pack size of products because it's cheaper. However, much of this food is often thrown away because it cannot be used in time. So what about plate waste? What are some of the reasons consumers throw food away? One reason is portion sizes. Our portion sizes are often inappropriate for a resident or patient who has a small appetite. In food service operation that provides different diets with varying textures, while texture modified food is often seen as unappealing by residents or patients because it looks different and tastes different when compared to a regular meal. In the clinical setting, meals might be missed because of an appointment or procedures, and this food is likely thrown away too. For dining establishments, that must prove ready-made food through the day, such as cafeteria or buffet, plate waste is more common. People often fill their own plate and are not able to consume all the food that they take. When a food service operation is focused on certain goals or initiatives, such as reducing waste, it is important to know how your employees and your guests play a role in achieving that goal. Simply put it this way, it is important to know your people. Starting with your employees, it is ideal to consider the following. First, experience. Does all of your staff have previous food service experience? If so, is that experience in a setting similar to your own? For example, someone coming from the restaurant world may not have as much focus on food waste previously. Skill level. Think about expertise of certain skills and the impact that it can have on the amount of food waste an operation generates. Identify where there are training opportunities and make that a focus for your team. For example, in healthcare, capturing residents' order accurately and based on preference can help reduce waste. In all operations, well, life skills and the impact that it has on waste for produce. Another important point is leadership potential. It's important to know your people, but also grow your people. Think about those who have leadership potential and get them on board to help advocate and educate on the importance of reducing waste. Connect with your team and make sure they are all aware of your goals and initiatives. When it comes to reducing waste, it truly takes a village, and every role can help support this initiative. Additionally, in order to get their support, allow your team to understand the why. Helping them understand the why and also the impact it can create can help manage it even more meaningfully. For example, you may choose to share some of the following. You may have heard about the food waste that occurred during the earlier phases of COVID. Restaurant closing, milk thrown away because of the lesser demand for customer. Highlight how significant waste occurred across the food service industry and supply chain. It may help your employee better understand why your organization is choosing to focus on it. Or if you're operating in an hospital food service department, you may choose to share about the financial impact that affected hospitals. Relate that back to how every department has to focus on controlling costs in order to help the hospital as a whole. There are just a couple of questions for you to discuss with your team. Reflecting on both your work environment and personal life. Do you contribute to food waste? Can you think of example of the kind of food you are throwing away? Is it produce? Is it dairy? Can you picture what specific food item you wasted this week or yesterday? Did you purchase too much lettuce and were unable to use it before it rotted? Or did you even take too much meat and potatoes at dinner last night and threw out the leftovers? These are the kind of thoughts we need to have when talking about ways to reduce food waste. Not only is it important to share your goals and initiative with your team, but in some example, it makes sense to share this with your customers as well. It can especially be helpful to explain your goals when it results in changes to the menu. For example, a retirement home may have shifted to a very large menu with lots of stations, bars, and choices. But keeping all of these options during COVID and in the near future may result in additional waste. Take the time to explain that change is temporarily and that the school or the retirement home is focused on reducing waste while still ensuring every nutritional needs are met. In the college setting, you may have students who are concerned about sustainability or environmental issues. Sharing that your food service operation is focused on reducing food waste may actually resonate with some of these potential customers and may be meaningful for them. Some guests may connect with your vision and goals and then may feel good about supporting your operations. Depending on your customer base, think about what would connect with that group. For example, this poster created by the Food and Agriculture Organization of the United Nations is a creative visual that may work well to reinforce the message with younger students. Another way to consider communicating if appropriate with your customer base, is to consider things like social media, visual display. It can be interesting to have a visual related to the amount of waste generated in Canada every year. Don't discount the potential impact you can make just by sharing this goal with your customer. You never know who you may inspire. So let's take a look at some of the ways we can each make a difference in our workplace. Share the information you learned today about food waste with your staff and coworkers in your organization and the ideas to act on it. Let's investigate some strategies so you can make a plan. I know it is no surprise that food waste continues to be a top trend in our industry. A few years back, the National Restaurant Association shared the list of trends, including locally sourced food, natural food, farm-based food, and food waste reduction and management. Now, of course, for 2021, we're seeing plant-based food, functional food, meal kits, virtual cooking classes, and delivery service. Fortunately, we're still seeing a goal to reduce overall food waste. So now let's talk about food waste management and some things to consider regarding reducing pre and post-consumer waste, especially in the area of healthcare food service. Be mindful of all items on your menu. You may not be offering the food choice your residents or patients prefer, resulting in a perceived lack of variety. Meal selection were not accurate at the point of service. Your guests do not always follow their diet's order, resulting in waste meals. Are there food quality issues at hand? And are the items not cold or hot enough? Maybe the portions are too large, or maybe there was not enough time to finish their meal. What's the environment like? Maybe there's poor patient room or dining room atmosphere, such as cleanliness, temperature, or lighting. Also, well, there could be a loss of appetite, a clinical diagnosis, or medication that someone is taking. Think about all of these points. Now let's focus a bit more on menu planning that is designed to decrease food waste. Some questions to consider. Think about it. Are the right choices on the menu? Are you getting feedback from your guests via surveys or resident councils? Does your menu reflect their favorite? Are you aware of residents' or patients' preferences? And again, is there enough variety? Do your menus feature seasonal items and a variety of produce? Are your serving portions too large? And your portion size is clearly identified on the production sheets for your staff. Does your staff need a refresher training on proper portioning? Lastly, are your diets liberalized? Less restrictive diets are often accepted better, both in senior living and acute care settings. Do you have a small portion diet that is offered to your guests? Now let's take a look at some of the other considerations to decrease food waste. Such creative and solutions include rotating leftovers into your residence or retail menu via soups, daily chef's offering, or fun snacks. Simplify your menu. Reduce the number of SKUs of overall items. Ensure cross-utilization of menu items. Use Chef Daily specials for today as tomorrow alternative meal option. Incorporate into employees' appreciation opportunities such as a special meal, snacks, take-home kits, and desserts. Use smaller amounts of item leftovers to transport them into unique treats and give to an employee who has gone above and beyond. Ultimately, you simply need to talk about those and determine if the right chores are represented well on your menu. I hope that we have provided you with some good insight on innovative ways to decrease the amount of overall waste in your food service operation. This slide will give you some great menu and serving strategies. In the next slide, we will examine some of them and how you can apply them to your food service operation. Cross-utilize. If you're using chicken breast in your menu, make sure that it always be a product that you use in multiple recipes. Make sure that your order guide is based on your need and don't have too many items for the same kind of products. Simplify your orders and always make sure that you have that product that is more helpful for your need. Here's a great example. Did you know that we have more than 60 recipes in cycle menu management using item 1197006? It's a chicken breast, but it's suitable for many recipes. Produce is a top category in food waste. Look at these statistics on global food loss and waste per year. It's roughly 30% for cereal, 45% for root crops and fruits and vegetables, 20% for oilseeds and meat and dairies, plus 35% for fish. Almost half of all fruits and vegetables produced are wasted. Our number one strategy for managing produce waste is to improve the knife skills of your kitchen staff. Create your own training using your knowledge, online resources, and YouTube. Provide professional training, such as a formal online cooking class tailored specifically to cooks and lantern care, or tap into the next level Rooksby, which is an online culinary training that provides the first step in achieving chef status. Both Rooksby and Pineapple Academy are great options. In the meantime, you can ask your sales representative about pre-cut products and easy-to-use products. We all need to challenge ourselves and challenge status quo. Rethink old standards, and if in doubt, throw it out. Remove the doubt from your mind and throw it out. You don't want to be the cause of food poisoning if you serve something that was not considered food safe for your customers. Be informed about the risk and consequences of your actions. Document handling and procedures that follow what you're throwing out. The famous salad bar has been on the mind of many food service managers. Will it come back? When will it come back? And how can we adapt the food we are serving then? How can I maximize the appeal to this new offer? Salad bar was a great way to make sure that my customers were eating more vegetables. Well, challenge your staff and team to come up with a great solution. Look for composting opportunities in your local area by doing an internet search. Just type commercial composting in your town. See what stewardship opportunities are out there that you didn't know about. You can also implement a composting program at your facility to start a gardening activity. The larger your organization, the more the contribution you can make to the community. Consider the new connection to reduce your food waste being sent to landfills and use that as a last resort. Identify your community partners and build your relationship. When you know you're running out of time to use a perishable, give a call to your community partners. Connect with them to let them know that you have an available product if you can contribute to a pickup or deliver first come, first serve. The tighter your community connection, the more opportunity you have to fill a need. Christmas break, spring break, or too much of a specific product. Gordon Food Service values community partnership and donated 7.3 million pounds of food in 2019. This is also great for your image. Share those great actions and partnership on your social media and with your community. Beyond the methods to reduce food waste, there is also a significant opportunity to reduce the weight that is associated with supplies. Since supply is an incredibly broad category, for the sake of this presentation, we're only going to focus on supplies such as takeout containers, utensils, napkins, etc. Part of the reason we are focusing all of our attention there is because of the shift in demand for those items in response to the pandemic. But do keep in mind that the supplies we mentioned are just one piece of the supply puzzle. This is a good starting place, and we know that sometimes getting started can be the most difficult step. One of the first steps to making progress is understanding your baseline. If you measure it, you can improve it. Make sure you take the time to learn how much you're spending on certain supplies. And additionally, how much are you using in a week time frame, for example? Napkins, takeout containers, and cutlery. Of course, we know that the main route of transmission for COVID-19 is droplets, which can cause an infection. It is important to understand the recommendation or the guidance that will help your operations. Make the best decision when it comes to supplies needed to safely feed your guests. One topic that has come up, especially in the healthcare world, which has a significant impact on supplies, is disposing of supplies. In the debate between the use of reusable dishware or disposable dishware. Here are some great resources to help you in your strategy to reduce supplies waste. David Suzuki Foundation, Love Food 8 Waste Canada, the Government of Canada website, and the Waste Reduction Week in Canada website. A unique strategy that may have been overlooked in ensuring your decision and purchase align with your mission statement or company values. All through during the height of the pandemic, sustainability seemed to be on the peripheral for some of the operation. According to Food Service Director magazine, the pandemic may have put more of the light of the needs for efforts since customers were shopping and cooking at home more than ever, which gives a first-hand view on how much waste can be generated with the process. Your organization may have a mission statement or goal related to sustainability. Connect with the other leadership to discuss how supply choices or use of those supplies in general can help support the missions or goals. We know many of the supplies that we have been discussing are truly essential, so reducing what you use in your operation is not always an option. However, we do have the ability to choose what specifically we are using and can take the approach of starting with the end in mind. The type of supplies that you use truly does make an impact. One way to maximize the waste reduction impact is to share with your guests how to properly dispose of things like takeout containers, utensils, napkins, etc. Visit the Gordon Food Service website to learn more about food waste. Simply search for food waste in the search engine to find great articles. We also have a few tools to help you to reduce your food waste. Reach out to your sales representative or the NRC team to start the conversation. We are here to help. We hope this was helpful and will lead you to a better understanding of food waste and how reducing it can help you with your cost management. If you have any questions or to learn how Gordon Food Service can help you, feel free to reach out to your sales representative or the nutritional resource team. Thank you for attending this webinar.